Rickshaw here on the 2nd of October 2022, and we got look at them clouds. It was a lot cooler here than what's normal. It was downright cold this morning on my walk with the puppy dog. Had to get a jacket. And breezy. It's been breezy. Plus we had earlier we had no clouds overhead and I was getting rained on. It was coming, wind was blowing it from over on the mountain, so it was an unusual day to say the least. But I was going to have some stuff on me getting the trike stuff finished. I was just going to snap some pictures and put them in the video, but yesterday when I started on the trike, it was like a comedy of errors that went on. I noticed the car tires were low. So I went ahead and went to pipe them up, and the front left one was really low, and the driver's side rear and the right rear was also low. Front right one was good, and it had nails in them. You know, damn nails in here from the construction debris, and so I had to plug those. And then of course the compressor wouldn't work. For some reason, the little one, I plugged it in the cigarette lighter. It just wouldn't come on. It was a blank screen. It wound up coming on later after I got the other big compressor out. And then, of course, the nozzle on the big compressor was no good, so I had to run up and get another one. It was something that, you know, it just took forever to get things done. It was kind of funny. So then I finally got to the trike, and I thought, oh boy, that chain, I got to do the chain maintenance and all that. That's why I hate chains. So I jacked it up. I had to tighten it a little bit. It was a little bit sloppy. And we took it on a big trip to Padre Garcia, and bought our vegetables and fruits and stuff like that. And I could hear the chain slapping, so I knew that needed done. So I got it all cleaned and oiled and adjusted. And then when I was finished with that, I'm checking the tires, and they were down again. So when I was down at the place, I did get some new valves. And one of the reasons the big compressor wouldn't pump this up is because when you push it in, it's got to push its actuator back to let air out. So I couldn't use the big compressor on that. I was having to use the hand pump because the little one wouldn't work. It just was crazy. So I'm hand pumping it, and it takes, these tires take 44 pounds, and they were at 20. Well, when I was down at the place, they had different valve springs, and I just grabbed an assortment because I didn't have one with me. And I got the right one, plus it had a much heavier spring, so I was able to pump them up. Once I took the valve out, let all the air out, I was able to pump them back up with the compressor. So just, I just was shaking my head yesterday. I was like, holy mackerel. You go to do something that should have took me a half an hour. I spent most of the day on it. And then, of course, before I was done, it started raining. So I'm out in the rain. My little buddy Matty was helping me. We pulled the tarp over the trike and made with closed posts so I could finish it off. But we got her all done. But, you know, plugging these tires, I hate that. We just bought these. I was putting off about buying tires because all this crap in here. And finally, we just had to do it. And it's like, oh, you know, what a bummer. You know, these, I can't believe they lose so much stuff. And we go around it, and I picking nails and screws up all the time. I don't know if the one here, I don't know where the other ones are, but here's one right here. I think that's it right there, ain't it? Oh, there it is, right there. And it's right on the edge, too. I had to put that one in, but I checked it this morning. It's still, the air is right where I put it, so the plug is holding good. I checked this one back here. I don't know. I checked the air on this one. It's right up where I put it. And I also checked this one. These ones also run at a higher, you know, normally when I was in the States, all the car tires, you could run them like 32. And if you wanted a real, hold on one second. I don't know. You name them. But then you could run them at 25 if you run a real cushy ride and all that. But these tires here, it says 44 PSI on these too. And you can run them down. You can run them down to 38, you know, for your comfort ride. But I went ahead and put them up to the 44 just to see. Same as the trike tires. And these ones, these tires on this tricycle, as soon as they're low, you know it. You can feel it because they get squidgy. But these things are designed to run. If I get a flat, you can just keep right on rolling. You don't have to stop. I wouldn't do any heavy corners. It might pull it off the rim, but they're 8-ply sidewall And that was one of their advertisements, that, you know, these guys like them because they're so heavy, and they are. When I had all the air out of them, they just looked like they were low on air. They didn't look like they were flat at all. And I wanted to see, when I pulled the valves out, I thought, I'm going to go around the block in it just to see. And it felt a little bit squidgy was all. So they do what they said they were going to do, and I just was going easy around the corners because I didn't want to break the bead or anything. But they do snap into the bead really good. So that's really nice. I think I bought good tires. You know, they have these tires for a lot less money. These ones were more because they're the 8-ply, and they're not rated 8-ply. They're actual 8-ply sidewalls. They're polyester, though. They're no radial. You can get radial tires for your bike. But we just had a guy when I was running around yesterday, too, that was just absolutely annoying. We're coming back on the tricycle, and the guy had a brand new Kawasaki. It looked like the 1100, and he basically come flying by us. We heard him from way back, and when he went by, our ears were ringing because he had the exhaust completely taken off. And I think some of these guys don't realize, with the fuel injection systems now, every time you play with the exhaust, you have to do adjustments to the intake. Otherwise, you'll lean them out, cook your valves. I had a buddy that did that on his Harley. He pulled the pipes off, ran these shorty straight pipes, and you know, he took it in because he was having trouble with it. And Harley said, "Nope, you burnt your valves out. You got to pay for it. Not under warranty. You know, if you'd have brought it to us, we could have helped you out." But you know, he wound up having to pay to get the thing redone, and that's the way it goes. But you can't play with the injection anymore. Even when doing carburetors, when you're changing exhaust, you have to change the carburetor. You have to adjust the float or change the needle. You know, I learned that when I was very young. I actually learned it the hard way. I had a 450 Honda, and you know, I never liked a loud bike or anything like that, but I went ahead and I took off the pipes that were on it, sold it, and then when I was coming back, I had on some shorter you know, shorty pipes, and they weren't super loud, but they definitely were loud. And I was thinking, man, I wished I wouldn't have sold the stock pipes. Well, what happened was, it came off. The pipe came off, and it was two exhausts, so I didn't want to run without. So I opened up the pipes and went on the highway and just cooked it. I just cooked the motor. So, you know, you got to be careful of that kind of stuff, because I didn't do anything with the carb, and you know, running at highway speeds, you'll cook them real quick. But this one yesterday, when I was coming back, we were in kind of pretty good traffic, but it was moving, and I could hear the valves when I put it under a good load. You know, it was definitely hurting the valves. So, you know, this one you can't, with the weight of this tricycle, you can't hammer this motor. I was telling my wife when we got back, I said, she says, "Oh, why don't you speed up a little bit?" And I said, "No, I'll just keep over to the right." It likes to do around 50 kilometers per hour. It'll sit there. It sits there all day, but when we hit the hill and it slowed us down to about 40, I gave it some gas. But as soon as you gave it gas, I could hear the valves complaining. And so I just backed off and told them, "No, honey, we gotta, you know, we're just gonna have to let it do its thing. I don't want to overtax it because I don't have the money to replace it yet. But I am planning on, when we get the thing settled down in Mindoro, I want to buy that either the MASH or the Motostar 400 and put it on here. Give a little bit more oomph for this. I don't need a super racer or anything like that. I just need something with a little more power. I even think that Honda, if I were you and doing a trike, and you're coming here from the States, you want to build a trike, and it's going to be a nice heavy one like this, which I recommend, get the better motor. You know, get the Honda 150. That one, of course, my tricycle wasn't as heavy as this. You know, it wasn't anywhere near as heavy, but it handled it like a breeze, like nothing. And this one, I geared it down so much compared to what was in there. I went down from 14 tooth on the front down to 13 tooth, and then on the back I went from 45 tooth to 51. And you know, it probably wouldn't hurt to go to a 53 on the back. You know, it wouldn't hurt it a bit, because you don't need the top speed on this thing. But so far though, we had a pretty good trip. We hauled all, you know, we had geez, we had to have 150 pounds worth of stuff with all the fruit. I know I carried the bags out to the tricycle. It was pretty heavy, you know, so, and with the kids in there and the dog, of course, she has to go with us everywhere we go, huh, baby? You have to go with us everywhere we go, don't you? Yeah, she's our baby. She's our good little traveler. And she stays right in the tricycle. She's to the point now where you tell her to stay and you don't have to worry about her. She won't get out. And it's nice to be able to carry stuff out to the trike and just put them in the trike. And nobody's going to bother it. You know, she doesn't, somebody comes around, she doesn't know. She's just one of these types that's going to stand her hair up and growl. I don't think she would come out after anybody. But she knows this is her thing to guard. And that's kind of cool. She's turning out to be a absolutely wonderful little dog. She's just a sweetheart. She loves us to death. And like I said, I'm glad we got her. I really am. But bike's looking good. I'm glad I got the speedo working, so I know how fast I'm actually going. I was thinking before we were cruising about 35, but that's about right, you know, with 50 kilometers. But going down to Padre Garcia, it was easy to keep 50, even 60, because it's continuous downhill from here all the way to Padre Garcia. But coming back, it's uphill, and it was not liking. It wasn't liking on the little tiny hills. 50 was no problem, but as soon as I got into the little bit of steeper ones, forget it. It just, nope. That motor was saying, oh no. And I don't think, be honest with you guys, I think if you rode this every day and just didn't think about it and gave it all, you know, gave her all she's got, I think this motor wouldn't last very long at all. So I wouldn't recommend, if you're getting a super lightweight trike, yeah, it's fine. If it's going to be you and your sweetheart and maybe a little bit of groceries, it's fine. But with my whole family, it's too much for this little motor. It's just too much. And I'm even thinking too, the 150 Honda might be a little bit too much for that one too. I don't know about with the gearing change, but if you looked at the motors between this motor right here and the Honda motor, and you just look at them, this one looks kind of spindly. But it's a price point bike, you know, and a lot of them are sold because they're way under $1,000 now with the exchange. Our exchange last time I transferred money, it was $58.68, and it had gone up to $59 there for a day or two. You know, so that was pretty cool. You know, that makes a big difference in what we get a month. You wouldn't believe it. I was really shocked how much more we got than you know, last year at this time. So it'd be nice if it stays up, but who knows? You know, fiat currencies have a way of moving all around. So, but I'm going to go ahead and let you go, and we're still going to do just fine with this. It's more of a city bike. If we go down to Padre Garcia next time, I'll just take the car, you know, because it's not that much traffic. But when we went in the city, we took the kids to the thing, and we decided to go into town and take my sweetie for breakfast. And it's nice, you know, you park these things anywhere. You can turn them on a dime. You know, for a city buggy, this is a fantastic little buggy. And in the traffic, you know, you're never going to get up to 50 kilometers an hour anyway, you know. So for what it is, I mean, if I was just going to only ever run it in the city, it'll probably last for years and years. It's just you got to be careful of the valve train, and they're adjusted. You know, I went ahead and just pulled the caps off. It's really easy to get to this one. It's got the caps you pull off, and on the side, right on the side of the motor, it's got the little viewport, and you can see where you got to line the dot up, and you know, for its different stroke. And then as soon as you do that, you just stick your feelers in, and it was right where I put it. I mean, nothing's changed on it. So it's just too much pressure on this little tiny motor. So that's what I got to say about that, and I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go for now. And this is Rickshaw out.